We're on the cusp of Flight 8. Will it complete all the mission objectives Flight 7 failed to? What about Flight 9? Will that include our first catch attempt of a Starship upper stage and crater hopping? My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Booster 15 and Ship 34, the second Block 2 ship, are nearing full readiness for Flight 8. This flight follows Flight 7 from January 16th, where the booster catch was a huge success, but Ship 33 sadly didn't make it, ending in a rapid unscheduled disassembly over the Caribbean. Now SpaceX is back with Flight 8 to keep pushing forward, but there seem to be some problems. We waited until the last second to get this news into the episode. Booster 15 seems to be still having problems with its hot staging ring. In the past few days we've seen strange behavior on site. We'll talk more about this later. Ship 34 hasn't rolled out to the pads either, so something is wrong with the flight hardware and SpaceX needs more time. Then just after midnight on Thursday, SpaceX finally posted an update on X, now targeting to launch Starship's 8th flight test as soon as Monday, March 3rd. That's as official as it gets. We have some more time to wait for the next flight, which gives us time to analyze what SpaceX has released in the past few days. A detailed mishap report of Flight 7 and all the details of Flight 8. Let's tackle Flight 7 first. What exactly went wrong there? Starship Flight 7 was a major step forward, but it didn't go exactly as planned. The mission successfully launched on January 16th, with Booster 14 and Ship 33 lifting off from Starbase. The booster executed a flawless ascent with all 33 Raptors firing nominally. After stage separation, it performed a controlled boost back and landing burn, successfully sticking its second ever catch attempt with Mechazilla's chopsticks. We already know that SpaceX caught it again, which is a massive achievement. However, there were problems involved. One of the 13 engines did not relight during the boost back, but it didn't matter. SpaceX told us a single Raptor on the middle ring safely aborted on startup due to a low power condition in the igniter system. Raptor engines on upcoming flights have a pre-planned igniter upgrade to mitigate this issue, so it isn't something we should see again. Ship 33, however, didn't make it. About 2 minutes after the ignition of its 6 Raptor engines, a flash was observed near one of the vacuum engines, marking the start of what would be a fatal chain of events. Sensors picked up a pressure rise in the attic section, leading to sustained fires that eventually caused 5 out of 6 engines to shut down. After a loss of communication, SpaceX confirmed that the flight termination system was autonomously activated 3 minutes later, and the breakup did occur within FTS expectations. Right after the anomaly, SpaceX, the FAA, and Air Traffic Control activated their pre-established response plan. All debris remained within the designated debris response area, with no hazardous materials detected and no significant impact expected on marine life or water quality. SpaceX quickly contacted the governments of Turks and Caicos and the United Kingdom to coordinate cleanup efforts. While an early termination of the flight is never ideal, the safety measures in place ensured public protection and a controlled response. Also, the flight termination system made for quite a light show. The root cause? Harmonic vibrations in the ship's propulsion system that were far more intense than anything seen in ground testing. These vibrations led to leaks, overwhelming the attic's venting capacity and allowing flames to spread unchecked. Remember that lengthy static fire that Ship 34 underwent at Massey's? This test was intended to push the limits of the Raptor vacuum engines, examining multiple thrust levels and 3 distinct hardware configurations in the vacuum engine feed lines. The goal was to replicate the harmonic response issue observed in Flight 7, and the results from this test have directly influenced improvements for Flight 8, including modifications to fuel feed line design, adjustments to propellant temperature settings, and new operating thrust target that SpaceX believes will prevent a repeat of the previous failure. In addition to the propulsion changes, SpaceX has made key modifications to the attic section of Starship. To address flammability risks, SpaceX added additional vents and a new nitrogen purge system, making the area more resistant to propellant leaks. In the long term, the transition to Raptor 3 engines will significantly reduce the attic volume and eliminate many of the joints that previously allowed leaks to form. Starship's development continues to highlight that progress is rarely a straight line. Flight testing remains the fastest and most effective way to refine hardware and achieve full reusability. While Flight 7 didn't complete all of its objectives, it directly informed the improvements that will be tested on Flight 8. Each launch moves SpaceX closer to its goal, and if the changes hold up under real-world conditions, Flight 8 could prove to be a major step forward for Starship's reliability and future missions. It's almost ready to progress, incorporating many of these enhancements. Ship 34 will test an improved heat shield and new thermal protection methods, and if everything goes well, it will deploy a set of 4 dummy Starlink satellites using its upgraded PEZ dispenser. The booster will once again attempt a successful launch, boost back, and tower catch with Mechazilla. If you can't tell yet, we are really ready for Flight 8. As the saying goes, wait, there is more. This test flight will see Booster 15 and Ship 34 launch from Pad A at Starbase, Texas, following a trajectory similar to Flight 7. That means a splashdown in the Indian Ocean with no recovery attempt for the ship, at least not yet. Booster 15 has been lifted up onto the orbital launch mount, though without a familiar companion, the hot staging ring. SpaceX opted not to install the critical component at the production site prior to B-15's rollout and instead transported it to the launch site along with its towering friend for installation there. What's the reason for this? Perhaps final adjustments needed to be made, but the hot staging ring's addition is critical to achieving full stack status for Flight 8. It was installed late Tuesday afternoon, but then taken down again on Wednesday night.
Here's a story about Suni and Butch. They went up to the ISS on Boeing's Starliner and are staying way longer than initially planned. There's a lot to get wrong here. One of the best tools to see what the broader media world is saying, and my top source for my own research for What About It, is Ground News. So let's see what we get when researching Suni and Butch. You can follow along at ground.news/y. It's quite easy to get the impression that the 2 astronauts are in a dire situation, abandoned on the ISS, waiting for rescue, stuck. Depending on where you look, the reporting media paints a very different picture. A solid plan for Suni and Butch's return is already in place and has been ever since it was decided that they do not return on Starliner. The 2 also seem very happy to have extended their time in space. After all, this is why you become an astronaut, and time in space is rare. We can see that Ground News has found over 200 sources on this story, with over 50% of them having high factuality. This speaks on the accuracy of their reporting and the timeliness of their corrections. That's the world of media, biased information all the time. Be smarter with Ground News. That's what we use at Y, and you can have the same benefits. The subscriber-funded model guarantees an ad-free research environment without sensationalism or clickbait reporting. By subscribing, you also directly support our work at Y. Go to ground.news/y or scan the QR code on screen. When you use our link, you can get 40% off unlimited access, which is what we use. That's ground.news/y. Get the whole story, not just what they want you to see. Try it for yourself.
One of the key objectives this time is heat shield testing. SpaceX has intentionally removed select heat shield tiles from Ship 34 to evaluate how it handles re-entry forces, similar to what we saw with Flight 7. This will provide critical data on how Starship's thermal protection system performs under real-world conditions. This flight will also feature some actively cooled tiles on Ship 34. SpaceX tried this last time with Ship 33 on Flight 7, but they never got data back because, you know, boom. Meanwhile, Booster 15 brings a few changes of its own. SpaceX has modified its autogenous pressurization system, aiming for more stability during flight and potentially smoother landing sequences in the future. If everything goes to plan, Flight 8 will closely resemble what a fully successful Flight 7 would have looked like, but with better camera angles, more data collection, and some brand new tests in play. Remote camera buoys are stationed in the Indian Ocean to capture Ship 34's splashdown. If everything goes right, this flight will finally show us a complete test from launch to splashdown without the abrupt end we saw with Ship 33. Even while preparations for Flight 8 are in full swing, work on Pad B is not slowing down in any way. The enormous tanks that are being installed on top of the now covered portion of the commodities trench have been rolling in nightly. One by one, they made their way from the side of the harbor access road to the new tank farm. Once there, they were installed on the prepared foundations and mounting blocks. The flame trench is still rapidly changing from a mud pit to a concrete bathtub. Definitely better than a mud pit. We can expect to see the flame diverter moving into its new habitat quite soon. On the far side of the flame trench, we saw the first elements of the steel structure being raised, which will support the quick disconnect adapters for the ship and the booster. Pad B is looking more like a working launch pad by the day. However, we should still expect a few more months before it becomes fully operational. As we mentioned before, the new Mechazilla should be ready for a catch maneuver much sooner. With chopstick testing starting soon, Tower B is likely ready for a catch in a few weeks, at least mechanically. Now let's look at some quick updates for Flight 9. Looking ahead, Starship Flight 9 is shaping up to be a critical test for SpaceX with expectations of even more ambitious objectives than Flight 8. The biggest anticipated milestone is the first ever attempt to catch a returning Starship using Mechazilla's chopsticks. We've already seen the FCC application that allows for this to be a possibility. Flight 9 could take place as early as April, according to the FCC advisory. The notice outlines telemetry and tracking parameters, which typically signal that launch preparations are progressing toward final approvals. Also, SpaceX's choice of Super Heavy booster for this mission will reveal a lot. After B-15, pickings are kinda slim for other rides to space for Starships right now. You have Booster 16 or Booster 14, which has already been flown on Flight 7. Will SpaceX opt to refly Booster 14, marking the first time it's done that? Or are they ready to see what the Block 2 Super Heavy can do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. While we've already seen 2 booster catches with Mechazilla, catching a returning Starship presents a much greater challenge. The vehicle must endure extreme re-entry conditions, slow down precisely, and position itself perfectly between the chopsticks. Not to mention the flip. Currently, Ship 35 is slated to be the next ship to fly after Ship 34. But we all know how quickly things can change at SpaceX. Remember Ship 32, anyone? Now let's look at the stars because we can. The Very Large Telescope has just made a breakthrough, detecting the atmosphere of exoplanet Tylos for the first time. This discovery is a massive step forward in studying distant worlds, and it gives us a glimpse into what future telescopes like the Extremely Large Telescope and James Webb could uncover. Tylos is an ultra-hot Jupiter that orbits its star in just 2.7 days. It is extremely fast. This world is absolutely scorching, with temperatures exceeding 3,200 degrees Celsius or 5,800 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt iron. Despite this extreme heat, the VLT's espresso spectrograph was able to analyze its atmosphere, detecting elements like titanium and vanadium in its high-altitude clouds. This technique, called high-resolution transmission spectroscopy, is the same method that will eventually help scientists scan exoplanets for signs of habitability and even alien life. Basically, they look through the atmosphere of a planet. The star is behind it, the light of the sun is falling through the atmosphere, and that's what they measure. Right now it is being refined on extreme worlds like Tylos, but as telescope technology advances, we'll be able to apply it to Earth-like exoplanets in the habitable zone. For now, Tylos stands as another proof of concept that our instruments are getting sharper and more capable of deciphering the atmospheres of distant planets. Who knows what we'll find next? Gilmore Space Technologies has officially announced the launch window for its first ever orbital flight of its Eris rocket, which will take place between March 20th and March 31st from the Bowen Orbital Spaceport in Queensland, Australia. Might be my birthday. If successful, this mission will mark Australia's first domestically developed orbital rocket launch, solidifying Gilmore Space's position as a leading force in the country's emerging space industry. Eris is a 3-stage rocket designed to carry small satellites into orbit. It features a hybrid propulsion system that combines solid fuel with liquid oxidizer. This technology offers a cost-effective and environmentally friendly alternative to traditional rocket engines. The upcoming launch is the culmination of years of development, with Gilmore Space overcoming regulatory hurdles and technical challenges to make this milestone possible. The company has previously conducted multiple static fire tests, refining the hybrid engine's performance in preparation for its crucial orbital attempt. The success of this mission could significantly enhance Australia's space capabilities, establishing the Bowen Spaceport as a viable commercial launch site for future missions. It would also demonstrate Gilmore's ability to provide cost-effective access to space for small satellite operators, a rapidly growing sector in the global space economy. If Eris reaches orbit, it could pave the way for future versions of the rocket, expanding Australia's role in commercial spaceflight and reducing reliance on international launch providers. The mission represents not just a technological achievement, but a potential turning point for Australia's space ambitions. NASA and Intuitive Machines are preparing to send an innovative lunar explorer, Micronova, into one of the moon's permanently shadowed craters for the first time. This small hopping robot will be deployed from Intuitive Machines' IM-2 lunar lander, which is launching aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9. Micronova's mission is to explore a pitch-black crater near the moon's south pole, where scientists suspect valuable ice deposits could be hidden beneath the surface. This water ice could be crucial for future lunar explorations, providing a potential source of drinking water, oxygen, and even rocket fuel. What sets Micronova apart from previous lunar explorers is its mobility. Instead of using wheels, it will rely on a series of powerful jumps to traverse the rugged, uneven terrain. This unique approach allows it to cover more ground and access locations that traditional rovers would struggle to reach. If successful, it could serve as a model for future robotic explorers designed to navigate extreme environments across the solar system. The IM-2 lander itself is also a critical part of the Artemis program, serving as a technology demonstrator for future lunar operations. By testing resource extraction and surface mobility techniques, the mission will help lay the groundwork for NASA's long-term goal of establishing a sustainable human presence on the moon. If Micronova proves capable of efficiently exploring shadowed craters, similar technology could be used to scout for resources on Mars and beyond. With NASA aiming for long-term lunar exploration, this mission is another major step toward unlocking the moon's secrets and using its resources to support deep space missions. The success of IM-2 and Micronova could reshape how we explore the solar system, opening up new possibilities for robotic and human exploration alike. Meanwhile, at Cape Canaveral on the other side of the country, SLS is coming together nicely for its Artemis II mission. Our intrepid photographer John Winkopp captured some great footage of the behemoth being assembled inside NASA's equally gargantuan vehicle assembly building. Artemis II will be the program's first crewed mission. Its goal is to further demonstrate Orion's capabilities. This is the capsule that our brave astronauts will use to travel to the moon. The crew will test Orion's systems in deep space, validate the SLS rocket with humans on board, and follow a lunar free return trajectory which uses Earth's gravity to slingshot back after orbiting the moon. The Artemis II SLS rocket is nearly complete. So far, the twin solid rocket boosters are fully stacked in the VAB, and the core stage is positioned for integration, the next major step. The nose cone was stacked earlier this month. After that, NASA will install the interim cryogenic propulsion stage and the Orion spacecraft. This mission will send astronauts farther than anyone has gone before, setting a record for human space travel beyond the moon's far side reached previously during the Apollo era. Firefly Aerospace has been on a roll lately. A lunar vehicle mission has already been launched, providing impressive pictures of the Earth and Moon from space. They are now readying their next launch, Alpha 6, to carry Lockheed Martin's LM-400 satellite as a payload. It's a mid-sized satellite platform designed for versatility across military, commercial, and scientific missions. Built with a modular architecture, it can be quickly reconfigured for applications such as Earth observation, communications, remote sensing, and national security. The system is designed for rapid production and deployment, allowing for a streamlined approach to building satellite constellations or replacing aging assets in orbit. One of its key features is onboard AI processing, which reduces reliance on ground stations by enabling real-time data analysis in orbit. This can be especially beneficial for applications such as battlefield awareness, disaster response, and climate monitoring, where immediate data insights are vital. The launch date has not yet been set, but with the Alpha rocket already upright on the pad, we can hope it's sooner rather than later. That's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm. This is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. A new Raptor design and our brand new Starship Block 2 design are both up. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also, check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. A significant amount of every purchase goes directly to our photographers, and if you want to learn more about the fascinating story of SpaceX's Raptor 3 engine, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. But one thing was still missing. Lol. Random German words. At the spectroscopy.